Hello everybody. These are video notes on how to draw and complete a Bohr model. So first, you should have a good understanding of what this symbol means, what mass number, atomic number, charge, and how to use those numbers to get protons, neutrons, electrons. So we've gone over this handout. You have now done this worksheet and figured out protons, neutrons, electrons, which then leads us to actually drawing a Bohr model. So, if you know what protons, neutrons, electrons are and where they go, that's the step to doing a Bohr model. Well, we know protons and neutrons go in the nucleus. Well, then in a Bohr model, we got to put the electrons in those orbits. But we can't just put them in any orbit we want. We have to put them in specific orbits. So what I've always done is I've always compared this to going to a concert. Pretend you're going to a concert and seeing your favorite artist. You're seeing your favorite singer, your favorite rapper, your favorite band, fill in the blank. Let's pretend, and so here's your favorite person rapping on the mic. Might look like they're eating an ice cream cone, but they're singing, they're rapping, they're doing whatever you went to see them do. But you are going to see them in a very specific, very unique concert venue, a very unique auditorium. The auditorium you're going to go see your favorite artist only has 7 rows of seats. And you have free tickets. You and your best friend are the first 2 people in line. If you're the first 2 people in line for this free show, and there are only a limited number of seats, namely 118 seats in this theater, and you're the first 2 people in line, you get to sit wherever you want. I seriously doubt you're going to want to sit in the back row, especially if you're short like me, because you're going to have some NBA basketball players standing right in front of you. If you have any choice to sit, you're going to sit in the front. And then, as those seats are taken, then the next row fills in. The next row fills in. The next row. Until the last people walking in the door have to sit in the last row. Well, if this is our stage and these are our rows of seats, in a Bohr model, this is our nucleus, and these are the rows of electrons. And I said this was a very unique theater. It is. It only has 118 seats. The first row holds 2. The next 2 rows hold 8. The next 2 rows hold 18, and the last 2 rows hold 32. Add those all up. Those equal 118 seats. Well, this is how many electrons will fit in every row of the electron energy levels. The first row will hold 2. The second row will hold 8. The third row 8, and so on and so forth. You need to know these numbers. Well, there's an amazingly simple way to know these numbers, and it is simply called the periodic table. If you look, now I am going to push a button. I am back on ptable.com. I love this website. And I am going to click this button right here called wide, because you see the periodic table in this format everywhere. But if you've ever noticed, these 2 rows seem to be removed. Well, they have been. They fit right here. So if I click this wide button, watch what happens. Those 2 rows are inserted right here, and atomic number really does go up by 1 as you go left to right. But now look, I'm going to put my cursor over row 1. Look how many elements are in row 1. 2. Look how many are in 2 and 3. 8. Look how many are in 4 and 5. 18. If you count all the way across, there are 18. and rows 6 and 7 have 32. So there you go. 2, 8, 8, 18, 18, 32, 32. Uncheck that check mark, and it goes back, but still, you can see 2 in the first row, 8 in the second and third, 18 in the fourth and fifth, but then in order to see row 6, you just have to realize that this part of this row is inserted down here, and same way with 7. So 2, 8, 8, 18, 18, 32, 32. So we now know that, and we know that's how many electrons go in each row. So now let's actually look and see what homework and quizzes will look like. This is a template I have, and I've said for a couple of days that I'm going to stop giving you the symbol. I'm going to just start giving you a name. So let's do one example. Let's say I wanted you to draw a Bohr model for carbon 14. And if I don't say it has a charge, it has no charge. So now what you've got to do, from just carbon 14, you need to do the symbol. But when I say the symbol, I don't just mean the letter C. I mean all of the numbers around it. Always 2, possibly 3. Well, carbon 14, that 14 is the mass number, and that goes in the top left corner. Well, now I need the atomic number, the number of protons, the number I told you I would stop telling you. Well, where do you get that? You get that off the periodic table. And there she is. There's carbon. And if I can actually get my cursor to come over here, well, I can't. But if you look at carbon, the number in the upper left-hand corner is 6. That tells you how many protons, or what the atomic number is. So carbon is 6. So we go back to carbon, and we put a 6 in this corner. This would be the charge if we had one. We don't. You put a 0, I'm not going to count it wrong. It's just not necessary. So now, from our previous exercise, we now need to figure out protons, neutrons, electrons. Well, 6 tells us protons. 14 minus 6 tells us neutrons. And do the opposite for the charge. The charge is 0, so add or subtract 0 from 6, and you get 6 again. So now we take these numbers, we put them in our Bohr model. Well, where do protons go? Protons go in the nucleus. So put 6p, and that's a plus sign. A lot of times you'll actually see signs like that on the homework and the quiz, just to help you. Well, now where do neutrons go? Neutrons also go in the nucleus. So 8 neutrons. Well, now we've got to put 6 electrons in these energy levels, but we can't just put 6 wherever we want. We have to follow our rule of 2, 8, 8, 18, 18, 32, 32. And you can't put any in the next row until the previous row is full. So I always ask myself 3 questions. How many electrons can I put in a row? How many should I put? And what does that bring my total to? So let's do that. How many can go in this first row? 2. How many should I put? 2. What does that bring my grand total to? 2. And then, am I done? No, because I'm not at 6 yet. Okay, so let's go to the next row. How many can I put in the next row? I could put 8, but how many am I going to put? I'm going to put 4, because what does that bring my grand total to? That brings my grand total to 6. So 6 protons, 6 protons, 8 neutrons, and 6 electrons, 2 in the first row, 4 in the second row, gets me to my grand total of 6. Now, if you need to continue to go, you don't put 0 for the rest of these. We just don't need them. But if we needed to keep going, we would just keep on going and fill these electrons until we get all the way out, until we possibly have 32 in the very last row. Helps if I would actually put the 32 there. So this is how you draw a Bohr model. I will be giving you a worksheet, a series of worksheets where we will do this, and we will do this quite a bit in class. Please come back to this video and review it, but please ask questions in class. We will be having a Bohr model quiz within the next few days. Thank you very much.